Hello friends and welcome to Study Center. In this series of videos, we'll be discussing Indian polity and our discussion will primarily focus on SSC CGL exam. For making this series, we have referred three books and those are Lucent's General Knowledge by Tarun Goyal and Indian Polity by M. Lakshmikant. Our primary focus were Lucent and Tarun Goyal and we have referred Lakshmikant for more detailed information. In this introductory session, we'll be discussing the definition of polity, the definition of constitution, and we'll be having an introduction to the chapter by getting used to and getting familiar to some basic terms. Let's start with the definition of polity. Polity denotes form of government in a country and includes its power, functions, and limitations. By form of government, we mean what is the source of the government, whether it is democratic or monarchical. In case of democratic government, the government is elected by the peoples. But in case of monarchical government, the leader is elected in descendant basis. That means the next king will be the present king's son. The form of government also defines the type of rule, whether the rule is centralized or decentralized. In case of centralized type of ruling, there is a single government who controls the entire country. On the other hand, in case of decentralized government, like in India, we have a central government which controls the country and we have respective state government who controls the states. Clear? So in India, we have a democratic source of government and a decentralized ruling of government. By form of government, we also define the relationship between executive and legislative. Now let's understand executive and legislative in a bit detail. There are three pillars of democracy: legislative, executive, and judiciary. The job of legislative is passing the law and supervising it. And this particular part is exercised by parliament. Indian parliament consists of two parts. One is the upper house and other is the lower house. Upper house is the Rajya Sabha and lower house is Lok Sabha. We'll discuss more about these in upcoming sessions. The job of executive is to implement the law. President, Vice President, Council of Ministers and Prime Minister are the part of executive pillar. The job of a judiciary pillar is to protect the law. Supreme Court and High Courts in a country exercise this thing. So in form of government, when we say about the relationship between executive and legislative, there are two types of relation. Whether executive is a part of legislative, and this scenario is called the parliamentary form of government, or whether executive is independent of the legislative. I hope you have understood all the points. Now let's move to the definition of constitution. A constitution is a body of fundamental principles according to which a state is constituted or governed. Here, a state means the entire country. The constitution is also called as the final law, and it is the authority that constitutes the government. That means it sets limit on what government can impose on citizens, and these limits are fundamental. That means that the government can never trespass these limits. If by chance the government introduces any law that is against the constitution, it won't be executed. There are two main aspects of constitution. It defines the relationship between different levels of government, which are legislative, executive, and judiciary. And it also defines the relationship between government and its citizens. Remember, Supreme Court is the guardian of constitution and the President is the custodian of the constitution. These two questions are often asked in the SSC examinations. In today's session, we knew the definition of polity, the definition of constitution. We learned about the three pillars of democracy, and in the next session, we'll be knowing the history of Indian Constitution, sources and inspirations of Indian Constitution, and we'll start from Regulating Act 1773 to Indian Independence Act 1947. See you in the next session.